Good morning, everyone. I believe we're live now. Welcome to our Instagram Live. I am your host, Amani Nasruddin. I'm the Chapter Relations Specialist at Advocis. I'm so excited to be speaking here today because we've got a special guest from Longevity Achieved. I believe he just hopped on. Hi, Al. I'm going to go live with you in just a moment. I want you folks to know that we are recording this. It is a live. We're going to have it available on our Instagram live section on our IGTV after the live is done. It'll also be available for replay on our Financial Advice for All website. If you folks have not tuned in or checked out our Financial Advice for All website, it is an awesome resource. It's basically our website that houses everything you need to know about financial literacy, including articles, our recent podcasts, any kind of Instagram lives we've hosted in the past, and upcoming ones as well. And I really encourage you folks to go check it out, especially since we've got our JFA campaign there too. So anything that is related to financial literacy this month, do check out Financial Advice for All. Without further ado, I'm going to hop on and ask Al to come on with us because we've got so much to talk about today. So give me a second here. Let's see, should be working. I don't know. Al, let me know if you got it. Let's see, hold on, 2 seconds. Awesome. Okay.
It worked.
It works, yes. You never know, because I'm like literally clicking on it. And I'm just like,
That's right.
Can you hear me loud and clear? Can you see me?
I can see you and I can hear you, and I ask the same questions. Can you hear me okay now?
I can hear. Master tech check, I say. We're good.
Perfect.
Al, how are you today?
I'm doing really well. Excited, nervous. I've been thinking about this since yesterday. Even like my wife was giving me a kiss on the way into the office. She's like, good luck today. I'm like, thanks.
Instagram, I know, right? It's the whole thing. But you know what?
Great.
The lives are fantastic. They're just such a simple way to hop on experts in the field to kind of talk about topics that Canadians are really thinking about too. So I'm really excited to have you on behalf of Longevity Achieved today to talk to us about some insurance and investing topics here that we've got on hand.
I'm excited too. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Before we dive in, I just want to talk about how diverse your team is. Actually, it's fantastic. You folks are like 15 different languages, is it?
It's 15 languages, definitely. Actually, it's 12 languages and 15 dialects, and I can't even say them all, but we've got a lot. So
yeah, that's
for sure.
The diversity is fantastic there for sure. And I'm pretty sure that does definitely help in the insurance field, especially since Canadians are so diverse. So it's a great reflection of the nation. So yeah.
I think that's what's cool, is that it actually is a reflection of, where we live and who we are. And it's not even a thing. I know we talk about it, but it's not even a thing. It happened naturally because that's who we work with. It's the way it is,
Well, you know what? Without further ado, let's just jump into insurance because that's where basically you folks excel in everything. And I want to kind of dive in. Let's just start on the surface first. Like, why is it important to have insurance? Can you kind of help us kind of explain that?
Sure. I think on a grassroots level, let me just check out. Do you think there's a lot more advisors on the call or general consumers? Who's the audience right now? Who are we talking to?
We've got a lot of advisors on, but we want to be able to tailor the conversation to Canadians or people that want to be informed, like, who want to know about insurance. So
Perfect. Okay, cool. I think from an insurance perspective then, why is it important to have insurance? Well, the fundamental of it is you get to keep your promises for the future before you can actually do it yourself. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you look at everything that we do in life, there's a promise inherently attached to it. When you get married, there's a promise to live together forever as a partner. When you have a child, although you don't look at that child and say, hey, I promise to take care of you until you're 25 years old at least, right? there's something built in there, and that requires some financial responsibilities to go with it. And so insurance is this kind of tool that allows you to keep that promise even before you saved up for that promise, right? So you're basically taking care of business while you're alive in case you ever, lose your life early.
Yeah, no, honestly, that's a good point to make because you've got me thinking now. Everything does kind of have a promise attached to it, so we need to kind of keep our bases covered.
That's right. That's exactly what it is, and it's like you hear the stories of people who maybe passed, and I can speak candidly about it. We're in the business; we can't dance around it. Okay, so sometimes people go early, right? And it's like, oh, their child, or oh, their family, or oh, their spouse, or oh, whatever. The charity that they were working so hard to make a difference for loses that impact that they were committed to providing for their life. So
Yeah,
that's the most fundamental use for insurance, for sure.
absolutely. And I think that, sometimes people, we forget that we're not living forever. At the end of the day, right? The reality is we're not. So we need to
We
make.
call it Superman syndrome. It's like, faster than a speeding bullet, I'm like safe forever. That's, yeah, maybe.
No kryptonite in sight. That's that's how it goes. But
Yeah.
it's better to be prepared for yourself, for others, and everything else, for sure. So dovetailing into that, actually, basically is the question here for Canadians. Basically, when they're navigating the marketplace, when they're shopping around for insurance, what are smart ways Canadians can basically shop for insurance, I guess?
I think today you got a lot of options. Traditionally, you'd get a referral, you'd be introduced to somebody that you already know, but now it's a quick Google, right? So there's a couple of things that you can do. You look for an advisor that is aligned with you, right? So everybody's got an About Us page, everybody's got a social media profile, everybody's present here, right? So you want to have an advisor or somebody who's taking the extra steps so that they can express to you, share with you what they believe, and work with the people that are aligned with your beliefs, right? It's not about products anymore. There's got to be a service. It's got to be something a little bit more personal to your interaction around money and around life and around your estate. That's my short answer.
And it's actually fantastic, because that's, finances and life insurance and investing, all that, those are pretty intimate topics when you think about it, really. That's, you're open. You need to have someone that you trust. That's one. And two, it needs to be someone that's aligned with what what you stand for as a person too. So I think that that's a really good point, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. And now with all the services that you can get, I mean, even Google released something recently called Verified by Google, right? So an advisor can go online. For any advisor listening that doesn't know this yet, you go online, you upload your licensing, you upload your credentials, and then Google will give you a check mark. They'll verify you. So do that so that your clients know and trust that you've been vetted by somebody, right? So you want to, for the consumer, for the client, look for somebody who's taken the extra few steps to let you know that, hey, you can trust me. And now here's what you need to know about me. Are we aligned, right? Because when we embark in this kind of relationship, it's, first we're dating, and then we got to get married, because I don't want to just meet you once, right? This is forever. We got to update the plan. We got to make sure you fulfill on your goals. That's the big thing. So you're going to be interacting with this person for the long run.
And actually, you brought up a good point there too, is like updating the plans and everything. How often do you think people should update their plans? Like, I know things change so rapidly, but when is a good point to basically be like, okay, like, you can't constantly be changing the plans, could you?
I don't think you should constantly change the plan, because there's a part of, you need some consistency, you need some reliability, and you need to allow the plan to come to fruition. Okay. But every time that there's a major life event, new relationship, new home, moving, a child, those kinds of things, most definitely we got to reassess, and then at least annually. And that's so cliche. Okay. It's the annual review, but in reality, you should be in conversation with your advisor on a regular basis. It's like, hey, what do you think about this? Or, are we on track? And if you're not in communication with them, they definitely should be in communication with you. Right.
Yeah. That's actually a good point too. Is like, having someone that actually reaches out, just as a prompt or a reminder, because sometimes we've got so much on the go, and we basically can't think of everything. So it's good to have the experts sitting there, be like, hey, just the prompt, how's things going? How are things going? Any big milestones? And then you could be like, hey, yeah, actually I'm buying a house or something,
Most definitely. I feel like I'm going to put my foot in my mouth. So any of my clients who are out there who are watching this, if I haven't talked to you recently, I'm sorry. I'll call you soon. But look, anyway, I saw on Instagram for one of my clients, they opened up a new shop. Okay. So we're on social media with each other. And I just got so elated when I saw their progress in life. And immediately I thought, one, send them a congratulations. And two, my mind started turning for all the risks, all the investments, all the things that they need to manage. So, but I'm not shy. So boom, gift basket, congratulations. All right, when are we talking next? And this is just in line with the service that we're committed to, right? Or any advisor that's got that level of service, right? So it's natural that you'd be in touch with the people that you're serving.
And actually, you made a really great point, is being present on social as well, is the fact that you're on there, you're seeing, there's a window to your clients' lives, to other people's lives, that you're basically sharing, and you're like, oh, you know what, that's great, that's fantastic. That two-way communication is always so crucial as well for advisors.
That's right. You got it. I lost you there. I can hear you now. Yeah.
Tech, but it's all good. We're good. Actually, just diving into our next question here is, we often think about, we were just talking about home insurance or car insurance, life insurance, etc. Are there other fields of insurance that people don't usually think about that, but they really should be?
Yeah, I think so. We're all definitely car insurance and home insurance. Well, car insurance, it's mandated, right? So everybody's got that. Home insurance, banks just aren't going to lend you without you being covered. Commercial insurance, like all the things that are mandated, everybody knows. So life insurance is the next thing that most people talk about, because we're always like, hey, you need life insurance, buy a house, this and that, right? Okay. But I think as a community of advisors, we failed our clients. And I know I'm going way out on a limb here, but life insurance is the easy conversation to have. Everybody gets it, right? You buy it today, it's pretty affordable. If you lose your life, there's a big lump sum of money that goes to your family. So we have that conversation because it's easy to have. But there's two pieces of insurance that should be talked about first. And one is disability insurance. The other is critical illness insurance. Okay. Now, together we call those living benefits. The reality is, if we're doing our job, then we should be covering the greatest risk first. And at any moment in somebody's life, they're more likely to be engaged in a disability than lose their life. At every age, between now and the end of life, we're always more likely to be disabled than we are to lose our life. So naturally, that should be the first piece of insurance that we talk about. The issue, though, is it's complicated, and a lot of advisors don't get it, and then clients subsequently don't get it, so then we just don't talk about it. Well, we got a ton of people walking around like really potentially in trouble, one slip, one accident away from being in trouble. That's a problem.
And actually, that's a really good thing, because we've hosted several of these Instagram lives and we've had articles, but the living benefits, really, it does get missed out of the conversation. And to your point, is it because most people don't really think about it, or is it because most people don't really understand the need for it?
It's probably twofold, right? Because if you look, when in our employment, we have group benefits, so everybody kind of thinks they're covered, right? It's just like, oh, I have short-term disability. We all have it just by virtue of working, right? And then so, okay, I'm covered by EI. Well, we don't save for the short term. We're not buying insurance for the short term. It's not about, oh, I sprained my ankle. I'm talking about insurance for, you got to live life. You got to go till 65, your working years, and then you got to live till 95 or 105, hopefully. The worst thing ever, I can't even imagine what life would be like running out of money at 65.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine what the struggle? Like, we struggle today when we're able-bodied, right? It's like, could you imagine in the future?
I can't. I can tell you that much. I don't know what's in store for me. But
it's a scary thought.
Yeah, and to that point, actually, a question for you, and I feel free to take the floor with your thoughts on this, because I'm thinking about the millennials. We tend to talk a lot about the millennials, and Instagram is that millennial platform anyways. And there's all those memes and all those conversations about, I'm 20, but I'm already tired. I don't know what I'm going to feel like at 80. Do you think because of those, it sounds like a joke, but a lot of the times people are just so exhausted, versus, because they're constantly on social, constantly inundated with information, and that wears people out, and that takes a toll on their physical and mental well-being. And do you think the younger crowd, the millennials, should start thinking about the living benefits, the life insurance, a lot sooner than others? Or
I most definitely, so the answer is yes. And I'll tell you a couple things to this. One, it's a cliche, but I'm going to say it anyways because it's the truth. Insurance is never cheaper than it is for you today. Like, it'll never go down in price. It's only going to get more expensive. Okay. The sooner you cover those needs, you're going to get it anyways, because you're going to need it, adulting, right? So I'm going to start adulting later. No, it's now, because it makes sense. That's the first thing. The second thing is, if you look at the background for insurance, it's all actuarial work. There's somebody trying to tell the future here. Okay. So we don't know what that's going to look like with our generation, with the way that we're working today, with the way that we interact with our devices today. We actually don't know the repercussions in the future. Are we going to be more fatigued? Are we going to have problems with our eyes? Are we going to have mental capacity issues? Are we going to be stressed out? Like, what's going to be the condition of our generation 20 years from now? We don't know, but we can definitely plan for it and take care of business today the disability insurance isn't just about accidents, right? There's also illness, right? So chronic fatigue is an illness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So that's my answer to you.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a really great answer, actually, because it's got me thinking now too, right? So, and it goes back to something I was actually thinking about too, is, when someone opens a shop, they're like, yeah, I'm starting my business, I'm growing. But then, with advisors, it's like, we're so excited for you. But at the end of the day, it's like, you're wired to think about all the risks, all the things that you need to think about too, and et cetera. So whether it's a business, buying a home, everything, you got to think about that for yourself. You are your own investment at the end of the day too. So you need to kind of think about that first and foremost. And to that point, let's just focus a bit on life insurance, because there's some confusion around that sometimes. And we want to clear up the terms for some people. So essentially, could you basically let us know the difference between life insurance, permanent life insurance, and then universal insurance?
Yeah, absolutely. No problem. Mm-hmm. So there's all insurance fits into two categories. And those two categories are term insurance and permanent insurance. So term insurance is temporary, but it actually stands for terminating. So there's a end date. You're buying it today and it's going to expire. It's going to terminate 10, 20, or 30 years down the road. Okay. And effectively, when you're buying term insurance, you're covering a need that has an end date and you're renting the insurance. Just like when you get car insurance. Hopefully you never need to use it. And if you never use it, when it expires, it's gone. And that'll be that. You paid for it for as long as you needed it. The other category is permanent insurance. And so that's like whole life insurance, and it never expires and it never changes in price. You'll never need to renew it, or you might need to update it, but you definitely don't need to renew it. And so when you get that kind of insurance, you're basically buying a policy. Okay. Mm. And so now you own it. There's some ownership in it. There's cash values in it. There's lots of different uses. So for the fundamental aspect of insurance, it just lasts forever. Okay, so until your last day. If you start to get into estate planning, there's a lot of different uses for whole life insurance. And those are some complex topics, but suffice to say, it starts to work as an asset for you. You can actually borrow against it. It works like your house. So there's a lot of cool stuff that when you talk to your financial advisor, you can really dive into. Universal life is one category of like whole life insurance, and it can last forever. And basically what we're doing is we're combining the two worlds of terminating insurance and investing, right? And so we're putting term insurance policies that renew year over year over year until you're age 100. And we're trying to pay as little for the insurance today as possible and put as much of our money into savings. Hopefully we save enough so that as the insurance costs go up, our savings can pay for the insurance and we end up with a boatload of money too. Yeah. So it's a bit of both worlds.
Awesome. And for our viewers and Canadians out there that, do I buy term life insurance or do I buy permanent? What are your recommendations on which way to swing?
I love that you just said Canadian. I just realized, are we coast to coast right now?
Yeah. It's
PEI to BC?
PEI to BC. And any girl that wants to watch it and know about Canadian insurance.
Fantastic. Well, okay, good. Welcome everybody from PEI to BC. Okay, good. So what's my suggestion for insurance? Very simply, if you have a terminating need or a need that has an expiry date on it, like a mortgage, like your children's independence, like they're growing up to be, at their adulthood, those you can purchase term insurance for, okay? My advice for everybody is purchase as much whole life insurance as your budget allows, and then purchase the rest in term insurance, okay? It's a blanket statement, but I have never had any client of mine ever come to me and say, oh, shoot, man, I just wish I bought less insurance. Mm-hmm. It's just never a topic. So as much as you can responsibly afford after your savings, after your, all the investing that you need to do to take care of life in that aspect, get as much whole life insurance as you can, and then buy term to fill the rest of the gap.
Fantastic. Honestly, those are like the topics that a lot of people don't really know about, where just differentiating between the two. We hear all these terms being thrown all the time, but we never really understand the difference. So that was a great way to kind of clear it up, basically, with an example. But so always buy more insurance?
I'm biased, right? I'm in the insurance business. So it's not always buy more insurance, but definitely if you have the option and you can afford it, whole life insurance is going to give you more tools for the future. And it's just not going to be upside down for you. And what I mean by upside down is the death benefit's always going to be more, well,
Yeah.
most often always more than what you put into it. Okay. So it's just a good investment from that perspective.
Perfect. And actually, to that point, when we're thinking, you mentioned earlier, and most people would know that the sooner you purchase it, the cheaper, the better it is, the more economical, rather. And
Exactly.
and what do you think folks should start to think about it? Like, should I be like 20? Should I be what is your recommendation to folks out there that haven't yet purchased any form of insurance, really?
It's a great question. Usually it's some life event that happens that has us thinking, right? So I was speaking to a couple of clients yesterday. It's awesome people. We just moved from Montreal to Toronto. The home prices here are wild, and now we need life insurance, right? So that was the catalyst to start the conversation. So look, if it's buying a house, that starts the conversation. If it's having a baby, if it's getting married, whatever it is, then usually it's those life events. If you have it in you and you're listening now, reach out to a financial planner, whether they're a financial planning only, like Cindy or Make Sense, or if they're an insurance advisor or an investment advisor, no problem. At least get the conversation going and then assess your needs. So maybe you need insurance today, but that doesn't mean you have to buy it today. At least you're equipped with the knowledge, and knowledge is power. So then you action it next year if you have to, whatever that is, but get the conversation going. That's job one.
Awesome. So the conversation going, and basically going back to what we first opened up the call with, is align yourself with someone who's, basically speaks your values, essentially. Yeah.
You got to believe what you believe, right? We're going to be talking a lot. So if we're not on the same page, forget it. Okay, here's the deal. I'm going to say it this way. Love your advisor and make sure your advisor loves you. Like we start love affairs with our clients. I'm like their champion. And that's the way that you want to be interacted with. Okay, so that's my invitation to everybody. Find somebody who's your champion.
100%. And how often do you think, you got to keep in touch with your advisor? Is it just every milestone? Or I know you're saying that every year you should have it. That's the cliche kind of thing. But do you think quarterly? Do you think every month? Is that too much?
Probably monthly is probably too much. But here's the thing I would say. If there's a good benchmark, if something great happens in life and you think about all the people that you want to text and say, hey, this happened, I want your advisor to be one of those people, right? When you're sharing, kind of like celebrating something or something's changing, you're reaching out to somebody, your advisor could be one of those people. And I encourage and hope that you have that kind of relationship, that they're on that list for you.
I love that, actually. I love that. That's such a great culture to have, to kind of instill between yourself and your advisor. That's someone who's basically involved with your expenses the same caliber that your partner is, or you are, really. So
right.
That's actually that's a huge point. And it's a really solid point to kind of instill that relationship you should be having with your advisor, really. And if you find someone that's not really, they don't have the time of day for you, or that maybe you got to start thinking about someone who's more, there for you, I guess, your cheerleader in your corner kind of thing. I like that.
That's right. I had a couple that I work with who said, after the whole, needs analysis, okay, they're like, geez, Al, you know us better than our doctor. And I said, yeah, that's the point. Like, I'm the one who sees, I got your health, I got your finances, I got your estate, I got your wishes. We arranged the will, we arranged the powers of attorney. I am the one who sees the whole picture. So that, yeah, I think I'm an integral part, and I want you to talk to me more often. Exactly.
That's the kind of spirit you need to bring into it. And that's basically the passion behind advisors in the field, really. That's fantastic. And you don't hear that very often, too. So that's how you need to kind of, I like the term that you got to have a love affair with your advisor, basically, but just when it comes to your expenses, really.
Exactly.
That's funny. Okay. But you know what? I just want to let folks on the call know that if you have any questions, we're going to be going into Q&A. So feel free to use the Q&A feature at the bottom right corner of your screen or in the comment box, and we'll definitely tackle those questions. But while they come in, Al, I want to ask you, I tend to ask all our guests this question, and do you have any books that you would or a book maybe that you would recommend to folks out there, basically, whether it's financial related, investment, insurance, or just personal development? Is there a book that really is like, yes, I really want other people to read this?
It's great question. I have a few. I had a goal in life to read 2 books a month. That was a thing for me, and it just took so long, and it wasn't happening. And then somebody turned me on to audiobooks. And now I'm like 2 books a week. It's wild how quickly it kind of, anyway, the one I'm reading right now is Start With Why, Simon Sinek. Okay. Now, a lot of people have heard this, but if you've heard it, hear it again. If you've read it, read it again. That is cream of the crop. Start with why. Simon Sinek, for sure.
Yeah, I love Simon Sinek, and I just recently finished his the Infinite Game book. Yes, it was so good. And it's just, your why for people, like, whether, for advisors, your why, passion to help others, your why needs to stay the same. And then you have your just causes, the reason that, the things that keep you going to make sure you accomplish. And he's a fantastic author, honestly, speaker. I do encourage folks to as well. That's an awesome book.
Yeah, and the cool part about the book you said, so that would be the next one right after that, is The Infinite Game. And if you look at that, if we're talking about money's an infinite game, okay? It's like how much is enough, right? So if we attach that kind of logic to our clients, then it's never about, okay, well, we achieved this goal, we should just stop our planning now. Yeah. It's always a concept of what's next. We want to stay in the game. Let's stay in the game. This is like, I'm so glad you said that, Amani.
Honestly, because that's when something's finite, you're done. That's it. Okay, I reached my goal. We're great. No, you got to keep aspiring to something bigger than that. Yeah, it's fantastic. But that ties perfectly to the topic as well. So honestly, it's a big topic, and like you said, some things can get a bit confusing, but you really need to have the expert in your corner to kind of break it down for you. But our conversation here today definitely answered so many questions that I'm pretty sure all the Canadians from PEI to BC have in mind, for sure. So I think that, having these conversations more often, and us, not just in November during Financial Literacy Month, but all year round. And this is why Instagram Live is a great platform for us to kind of just hop on 30 minutes. Let's talk to someone who knows their stuff and get some questions out there, and get some answers out there, rather. But honestly, Al, I love the spirit you bring. I love the passion you've got for the industry, and it shows right through the phone. So I hope everybody else on the call was able to see it as well. But folks, if you have any questions for Al at all, let us know here. If not, they can feel free to reach out to you through your Instagram Live or on Longevity Achieved.
You got it. I'm accessible at any time. Just reach out if you need anything. And I hope, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. We're probably not done yet, but I want to say thank you anyways. And I'd love to come back at any time. You just let me know when.
Definitely. Honestly, folks, we've got a few minutes on the clock. I feel it too. Randy's got a message here for you. He feels it and sees it too. So I think everybody on the call was able to see that. You're fantastic culture you're instilling as well. Thank you for that, because, we need to see more of it, and we need to kind of be able to have that. I love my advisor. I want to be able to share my great news with them. Honestly, and that's a good spirit to have. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to inform my mother, or I'm going to inform my partners or my colleagues, but also I'm going to let someone who's just as involved in my life know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Al. I really, really appreciate your time and your energy and your passion on this call, and we hope to have you in soon.
I will. Thank you so much.
You take it easy. Cheers, folks. Take care. And
Bye.
Let you know that we will have this replay on Instagram Live and on our Financial Advice for All website. Take care, stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.
Bye.